charge onto Exakick. Last embrace out, Razork diving forward, the Dawning Shadow as well as they just lock up Exa and they take him out of the fight. Isma trying to do everything he can here, but Humanoid tanks the tower perfectly. Jun takes the kill.
And guys, this Cassante is never gonna die, okay?
Look at Ashe, guys.
Look.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Maybe I'm dead.
Oh.
I'm trying. I'm surviving. No flash. No flash. Cassante just appeared here.
Great patient play from them. Ooh, Exakick ends up losing his life.
Look at Joel, look at Joel.
Oh, vai. I will. Not a flash.
It's no flash,
No flash. Okay, we can go farmer, we can go farmer.
No flash.
No flash.
Good enough.
Well played, boys.
I got it, guys.
Nice.
Gets charmed up immediately, the cease and desist on the backline, but Razork just can't put the damage down, and Irrelevant can. He dives into Fnatic's backline as Nisqy dives forward to help him.
And welcome back to the NLC, that's where we came from the past.
That's retro.
Honestly, that was a crazy game, so I'm not gonna lie to you. Jamada and I, we were sitting out back, we were getting ready to analyze a lot of the early game plays. We wanted to give you guys multiple scenarios where we were actually just breaking the game down. But it ended up being a late game. Do I want to call it Fiesta? I'm not really sure.
No. It was a Fiesta.
Okay, fair enough. A late game Fiesta. But either way, we still have these early game plays that we want to dive through, and then we'll take a look at some of the late game fights. So first, let's dive into some of the bot plays that we've seen, because the SK bot lane has actually been doved quite a bit lately. Even against a series against Vitality, as you can see on your screen right here, they were being dove while Isma was down covering. The problem that they are experiencing is that they're being dove by 4 people while they're only 3 people. So an issue they have is that they're not good enough at defending their bot lane. Well, what do you know? That kind of issue arose today as well against Fnatic, as you can see it here. What are we looking at, Jamada?
Yeah, what we're looking at right here is a 3 effectively versus 2 right now. In a previous exchange, Exakick lost his ultimate. Fnatic know exactly who their target is. Jun is very patiently tanking up the tower, and even though Isma is quite literally right here, like the previous dive, they're still at a disadvantage once that teleport comes through from Humanoid.
So I'm not gonna lie, I was looking at that one and I thought, well, that looks great. Now we're gonna have a bot lane we can build on. We had the first dive come through, we had a second dive come through, as we just saw now here. It looked like they were just gonna go with a repeat dive again and again and again. And you can see it from Razork's bot lane proximity this game. It's almost doubled for what it usually is. What it usually was. So they're a crazy camp in the bot lane.
Yeah, very big emphasis on trying to get Noah and Jun ahead, right? We spoke about how they had a very successful previous series, and clearly through the gameplay, not only do they want to push forward Jun and Noah into a position where they can carry, but they also want to shut down Exakick and DOS, who very frequently, alongside Irrelevant, are the carry members of SK.
And honestly, in the early game, the bot lane was shut down from SK, but a guy who was not shut down was Irrelevant up in the top side. And not only did he perform individually in the laning phase, it was also at the Baron setup that he's performing. So we have this one specifically that we'd love to hold over as well, which is a play around the Baron where we can talk about the setup initially. What do you think, Jamada?
Actually, so the setup for SK is quite good. They've already burned down the Baron to almost 5k. They've got DOS on a flank, and what they're kind of waiting for is the majority of Fnatic to push forward kind of past where Oscarinin is right now. If you kind of draw a line from the top of the river to the bottom, as soon as that occurs, they're likely gonna try and send DOS forward. Irrelevant's job here is to not only hold the line, but also track Razork, right? Ensure that he doesn't get easy access to the back line of the pit. As you can see here, Fnatic actually take a split approach. Irrelevant very quickly adjusts, and he's able to pull Razork out of the pit. And even though he still gets back in, it's still secured by SK. And then at this point, it's a bit of a cluster, to say the least, in the pit. But as you can see, Irrelevant's health is not going down. He's able to pick off Oscar, who unfortunately went in a little bit too far ahead of his team, wasn't able to actually have any backup. And then Irrelevant just takes over the fight from there.
And I really think that's what made this game so difficult. It was the fact that Irrelevant got as far as he did on a champion like Cassante, where he's able to control the team fights. Multiple times we saw he got the angle on players where he's able to make it a 4 versus 5. And you can see it as well here. He was absolutely performing in this game. Forward percentage on 40. He wanted to be up in that phase as well. And I mean, his replay speaks for itself. His stats speaks for itself. This is just the best top laner in the league right now.
Yeah, I think performing, it's very hard to argue, right? There were arguments around Adam. There were arguments perhaps around BB when he's on form, but realistically, Irrelevant, I feel like, is the most consistent performing top laner that we have right now. And this was just another one of those case study games.
Yeah, so let's get into some of the late game team fights, because honestly, then it just started I mean, they got a Soul, they got an Elder, we got a second Elder. What happened in the late game, Jamada?
Man, you're asking a lot of me, Guldborg. It was such an insane game, but so much of it crutched on eventually not just Irrelevant, but SK's ability to come together as 5 and actually pick up key targets. I feel like, you know, Fnatic did a generally good job. I think specifically Humanoid have probably dealt a whole bunch of damage, if not the most damage on Fnatic this game. I'm just throwing it out there as a guess. The positioning was great, but again, it was Irrelevant, finding forward plays, Nisqy occasionally throwing his life away short to get some of these plays.
I mean, Nisqy had that play where he had to teleport on a minion, and SK was playing 4 versus 5, and SK still won the game against the Soul of Fnatic.
Yeah, it's really insane that they were kind of that far ahead in game state towards the end of the game, even up against all of those odds. So to me, Fnatic have a lot of soul searching to do in terms of what exactly they want to allow SK to have in picks, because to me, the thing that's going to be screaming in my mind as a player is that K'Sante can't go through again.
Yeah, I mean, Fnatic's going on to the blue side. Maybe they're looking to take it away from Irrelevant. Maybe they're looking for different counter response. We'll see. Let's see what happens in game 2 as we leave it with Vedi.
Oh,
Very medi.
it's changed.
He understands the hierarchy. He knows how it is.
Vedi. I don't think it works as well. I think the alphabetical nature of it.
It's like the whole
Is it John Lennon and the Beatles all over again?
Professors on a paper, you know, at the end where they put their names of all the people that worked on the research paper. And et al. Soon you're going to be
the et al.
You're going to be Medi et al. Well, anyway, welcome back. We're getting ready for game 2 between Fnatic and SK. The lads at the desk broke down a lot of the crazy fights that we had in game 1.
I actually think there's a small delay because they're waiting for Nisqy's TP cooldown to come back up so he can teleport into his chair.
Yeah, well, I imagine that this K'Sante is going to be a question that we will soon have an answer to. Fnatic making their way over towards the blue sides. Let's see what the priorities will be as we shift on over into our second game of this series. I imagine that the Jax ban will continue to come through towards Irrelevant. He already demonstrated how good of a player he is on not Jax. Let's not give him one of his favorite champions.
I think we'll still see Brandon Varus banned away as well by SK.
Likely.
Both very strong, and we will. So there's the Jax Maokai. Will Fnatic ban K'Sante, or will they pick it? Because that is always an option.
Well, first picking K'Sante, definitely a bit of a dubious choice.
But do you think SK would pick it on 1-2? That's the other question. Because you could pick it on 2-3 if you don't want to first pick it.
I mean, the concern is that how scary is Zach? Because we didn't see it as an answer. We saw the Aatrox. I didn't love the Aatrox, but also I just think that Oscarinin didn't have a great game 1. We know that he has shown stronger performances this split, especially during the regular season. But admittedly, he got K'Sante a lot during the regular season, so eyes will be on him in this game. What will the priority be? A lot of AD carries are, of course, banned. Will the Senna continue to be the priority for Fnatic?
It's very possible. Having a long discussion about it. Instead, Karma locked in for them. A 3-way flex. We've seen it top, we've seen it mid, we've seen it support. So still a lot of options for Fnatic there. SK likely look towards their jungler AD. That's often what we see when you just want something safe to pick on your first couple of locks.
Maybe SK just take the Zyra Khan again.
Yeah. Could try and take away the Senna. Senna Karma, a relatively strong lane. You get good push in that lane.
All right, they're going to lock in the Senna for themselves. They could look to just grab their jungler now. Maybe they want to give Isma the Rell once more if they just want that tanky frontline engage. They could also consider something like the Zhao. They have shown also a great proficiency on it.
Yeah.
And they prioritized it a lot more during the regular season compared to what we've seen from them in playoffs. We are going to see the Rell once more from Isma, so he is going for more of that frontline engage. I suppose Zhao also fills that purpose, but either way, Fnatic, how will they now respond? Will they go for something like the Zyra Khan themselves? Ezreal Karma. Oh, Europe doesn't like Ezreal.
It's the first time we've seen Noah on it this split as well. Let me just have a look at the Ezreal statistics in Europe, because I don't think they're going to be amazing.
We've only seen it twice,
and it's lost both times. Yeah, so yeah, they're not amazing.
One of them was in mid lane.
It's still lost. Yeah. And it's Perks who's better AD than mid lane anyway, so it's basically like an AD was playing it. There's the Zhao as well for Fnatic. Looks like SK might look towards their support with the Nautilus locked in. So we have AD carry on support expected on both sides. Obviously that Karma can still be flexed mid and top. The Ezreal could still be flexed mid as well.
I mean, I imagine that this is Ezreal Karma bot lane.
Yeah,
One
I agree.
of the most common pairings that we'll see with the Ezreal is the Karma. But you're definitely right, the flexibility.
Ban the K'Sante.
Well, because they probably want to give Irrelevant counter pick, right? So from their perspective, they're like, we think Irrelevant is better than Oscar. Game 1, in our opinion, has proven that. So we would much rather just have him have a winning matchup, which means that we want to lock in our mid here. So Fnatic makes sense. Maybe you should get rid of the Azir. They're already getting rid of the Orianna. But I'm sure that Nisqy sitting here saying, you can pick me Nico, you can pick me Azir, you can pick me Hui, like all these things. You can pick me whatever. It's fine. Just give Irrelevant what he wants to make sure that he's in the best possible matchup, because so that he can try and carry again. So unsurprising, they would want to take one of the safe top lane picks away, and now they're going to remove one of the playmaking mids away in the form of LeBlanc. LeBlanc plus Xin Zhao, a very oppressive mid-jungle duo that they do not want to allow Humanoid to have.
Where will Fnatic go with their final ban? As you said, very possible that this is an Azir ban. I've seen Nisqy go towards the Corki, could even go towards an AD mid if they wanted a little bit more magic damage in the top lane. Doesn't need to really though, there's the Hui. So likely an Azir here for Nisqy. Fnatic obviously will have their idea of how they want to counter that. Last time it was the Hui. Worked relatively well, but obviously Irrelevant was a bit of a problem in that last game. Humanoid could look for El Clasico as well. Corki into Azir, Vedius.
He might. He just might. I mean, you look at, they're already got Karma,
They've got
Ezreal.
range Corki.
Yeah, like I'm sitting here thinking like Jace, Corki.
Zach Corki kind of does similar thing as well.
Blind
Want a bit
picking
of a game.
So I feel like
Ezreal mid.
Okay, so they do actually. That's the problem. That they could be Karma mid, Ezreal Ashe bot.
I mean, that's true. Ezreal has brought into Nautilus Senna though. I'm not a massive fan.
Irrelevant could just slam Darius now.
Yes, he really could.
He's also Gnar is also perfectly fine. Irrelevant, very good Gnar player. He's got a very long history on it, all the way back to his Misfit days. It was something that he was often going towards, and something he's shown great proficiency on.
And there are some relatively low mobility carries on the enemy team. It does look like it's going to be Karma mid with the Ashe as an AD carry or as a support here alongside the Ezreal.
So we saw this from Friscawi. Was it Friscawi? I swear it was
Friscawi. Game 1, MDK versus...
just a lot of push. Push. That's just what Karma mid does very well.
Said by Karma mid players and midwives all around the world.
Correct, yep. Push. And, I mean, it's got a lot of range. I do think Fnatic's damage is a little low.
Yeah.
Like, they've got a lot of good chip damage, but when you're in the thick of the chaos of a fight of what we seen before, I want to give the advantage over towards SK.
I mean, it does feel like Fnatic really want to play arm's length for a very long time.
That's what it feels like, yeah.
And then go in with the Zac eventually, right? Because I guess the other issue is, though, if SK get, say, 60, 100 stacks on Senna, are you going to be able to play arm's length against an Azir and a Senna? Because they have got good range and they've got good poke into you as well. And then you've got slightly easier engage from the Nautilus with the Rell follow-up and the Gnar.
I mean, I will say, if Fnatic can get ahead early, their poke will be really oppressive, right? Sieging onto towers, playing around neutral objectives, it becomes very difficult to walk into this composition.
It really does. It really does. A little bit of balance between the two mid laners as we get on into the game. Winner of this series goes through to play up against MDK. Obviously, Fnatic have already 2-0'd, and SK have not done so. And the winner of that will play BDS, and then the winner of that will play G2 in our finals next Sunday. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday next week, just as a final reminder. And I say next week, it's actually this week, because we are currently on Monday, unless my jet lag is really messing with me.
It's Monday.
Jun going Barrier Ashe, something we do commonly see. You can even go Ghost Ashe as the support Ashe. Halo Blades, you just want to be dashing in and out, but doing as much damage as possible. The risk for Jun is if he gets hooked after the first Barrier and Flash, it's a bit more tricky to escape from a Nautilus and a Senna.
Can we also just, because we're in the early game, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, this is about as early as the game can get.
Can we just talk about the number of people that just run fleet footwork now? Like,
or just generally?
But like, you look in this game, there's 4 people. 4, 3 are running.
There's 3.
Oh, it's 3 because I also counted Grasp, which also...
It's basically fleet footwork.
It's the same thing, just for melee jabs, right? I think especially pros have come to realize the value of just having healing in lane. And like, even though the healing is very minimal, it does have a pretty significant impact, in my opinion.
Nisqy has basically won the mid lane because he pinged the ward that Humanoid put down, so he has that 5 gold lead.
And then as punishment, Humanoid hit him in the face with the Mantra Q. For those that haven't seen this, Malignance is something that basically Karma got a bunch of buffs to her AP ratios on 14.2. Then a lot of people realized that, hey, Malignance synergizes really well with her mantra, and that made her really oppressive.
Importantly, if you hit people with a mantra'd ability, you get Mantra cooldown back. You get that R cooldown back as well. I think it's 5 seconds per enemy champion hit. So you can basically RQ 3 people in a fight and then RQ 3 people in a fight again after the cooldown does come down.
I mean, also just with abilities.
Yep.
Yeah, so, yeah, Karma is annoying, and she has push, as you can see on your screen right now. This is what she does. She pushes in the wave. She makes it easy, and with the push that they have in bot, we're going to see the thing that we always see, which is invade into enemy bot side jungle. Level 2 for Razork, decided not to start on his Raptors. Instead, going to make his way towards the Gromp. Only level 1 for Exakick and DOS for the time being. But he's got to be fast.
Yet. Will be spotted on the blue if he decides to go across to it. Might look for a bot lane gank first, depending on how that wave state is going. Currently, they're underneath the tower. Noah tried to trade in. Exakick and DOS are, I believe, 3 minions away from hitting that level 2. Oh, it's cannon wave, actually, so there should be less than that. Razork now steps in, forces Isma away. Exakick and DOS will want level 2 before they look to try and answer this play. Jun comes across, helps out Razork. As you say, push into play is exactly what Fnatic have done. Exakick and DOS about to hit that level 2. There we go. It was about 2-3 minions before they got there. But the Gromp and the blue have been snuck away by Razork.
You may have mentioned this earlier, but the Doran's blade on Jun there doing a lot of work with the Halo blades.
I didn't mention that. That's a good pickup.
Yeah, often a lot of supports will start with that support item, but you don't have to in this day and age, right? Double AD carry, just go double AD carry. And it gives you a lot of power in the early laning phase, usually on first base. They can still pick up that support item.
Does mean you need to get to the 400 gold first to get that support item, and you're stacking a little bit slower. You know, DOS will get towards his upgraded ward item a little bit sooner, but it doesn't matter too much because you get stacks relatively quickly.
For sure.
In modern League of Legends. Razork looking for double scuttle here. Won't be able to get it because Isma's already taken one away. But in the end, about a 2-camp lead for Razork. He does still have his entirety of his top side to do as well. So
Razork looking for the respawns, all in from Fnatic's bot side.
Just a bit of a trade. Noah and Jun, I really like how separated they're playing here, because it means if DOS ever hooks in, he can only CC one of them. He can only lock one of them up, which means the other one can just step forward and harass Exakick like this. And you can see the issue for DOS is, well, if you go on Noah, well, Jun just auto-attacks your AD carry.
Here comes Isma, looking to try and punish the aggression. He should be spotted.
He is spotted.
And Noah should be fine.
Yep.
And now they can actually punish Isma here, the slow from Jun. Very well done from the Fnatic bot lane. Who would have thought, you know, I always thought the 180 carry was annoying. Just add a second one.
We saw it at Worlds. 480 carry bot lane is the only way to play.
I remember. Carrier is the one that brought this menace to us all.
Darn Carrier. His good League of Legends again.
Darn him. So, Razork sitting pretty happy right now. You can see the CS, obviously not truly representative, you get 4 CS per camp that you clear, but the point is advantage in his favor. He effectively has a kill over his jungle counterpart, which is resulting in Fnatic having this early game lead, thanks to the early invade. Now Isma is on his Gromp respawn, but ultimately we're in a very passive and slow early game, and that's just kind of what we expected when you've got Ezreal, Ashe. It's an oppressive lane, but you don't have a huge amount of necessarily kill pressure unless you're considering going for the dive and you've done enough chip damage. In the top side of the map, it's a Zac versus a Gnar. These champions can't really kill each other, and in mid, it's Karma clearing waves, while Azir also then clears those waves that have just been pushed underneath his tower. So a lot of wave clear, a lot of slow early game. The only time that we're likely going to see action is around these neutrals, and depending on what the priority is, Fnatic has the advantage over the Dragon for now because of their push in bot and in mid, and that means that Isma will do the cross map, push towards top, and look to secure the grub. So a very standard, steady and simple early game.
Yeah, as to be expected. The only real development was the invade on the blue and the Gromp, which Fnatic managed well. Big wave pushing in here, but Fnatic deciding against diving. You know, you've got a tear and a Doran's blade on your Ezreal. You're not going to do too much work. Instead, get the objective, get yourself a plate, a little bit more gold in your back pockets. One of the great things about playing a ranged support like the Ashe is you can always argue that you should share the plates. And as a support, getting that 63, you know, to 100 extra gold, it's just so nice. Vedius.
And I mean, if your AD carry's not there, why don't you just take the plate?
I do, all the time. They get very mad. And then I start taking CS, and my teammates get even more mad. It's optimal gameplay, is the way I'd argue it. Exakick and DOS now forced away. Isma showed on the top side because he was taking those grubs, and obviously when you take all three of them, you get a pop-up for the enemy team. So 2 plates over to the Fnatic bot lane, playing through this early game relatively well, doing everything we expected them to with this composition.
Got any plans for the week?
Going to the dentist tomorrow.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, also playing some Magic the Gathering,
Oh.
which I know you love, and you would love to come and join our Magic the Gathering group.
I don't want to buy a deck, Medic.
You don't have to buy a deck.
They're
I can lend
really
you a deck.
expensive.
I can lend you a deck.
Would you give me a blue deck?
I can give you a blue-green deck.
Sounds kind of cool.
Yeah. It's AC. It's all about placing lands on the field.
Oh, lands.
Oh, yeah, now I've ruined it for you. It's true. Darn those
I've
lands.
literally
The
seen
integral
you.
part of how you play Magic
I've
together.
seen you play a game where you just didn't draw any lands, so you didn't play the game.
Yeah, and that is frustrating. But with this deck, you get to draw your lands.
I see.
What about you? Any plans?
No, it's my weekend tomorrow. Starting tomorrow.
Nice.
So I'll probably actually farm a lot of League.
If anyone sees him in Emerald,
Yeah.
Emerald 2, Emerald 3, his name is Vedius.
It's my favorite when they always go, "Are you the real Vedius?" And I'm like, I can't.
Who would pretend to be me? Very true.
Oscarinin getting bullied a little bit. Noah
Gets hooked. Isma's looking for the flank here as well. The flash
dead.
away. Noah. Fnatic fans just absolutely cursed him. I've heard of caster curse. I didn't realize the fan curse was as powerful.
Nice pick there.
Cheer for someone else, Fnatic fans. I want to see more kills.
Oscarinin getting bullied out of lane. But the bot side, Noah just getting punished. Hope we get a replay there and see, was he just standing on a ward and he ended up just getting caught? Because like he used his E into flash, he wasn't expecting Isma to be on the other side of the wall. And it's SK that secured themselves first blood.
Kill going over to Isma, not the place you would put it ideally if you were SK. Obviously, getting that Senna ahead makes a lot of sense, but still, Isma's gone back, got himself a Barmies, can go back to farming up his camps. Void grubs up in 86 seconds. As Razork steps forward here, we'll have another look at this, Vedi. Yeah, he just walks up to...
Is he there to drop a ward?
Yeah, I think so. But then he gets rooted, caught in the last embrace, and the flash over the wall, if Isma wasn't there, would have been enough to keep him alive.
I guess my question is, what is he warding for? If his plan is to base afterwards?
So often you do want to use your trinket ward before you base, but the positioning was quite aggressive. As we see the arrow come through in the mid lane, hits onto Nisqy. Humanoid's going to land the chains as well. The true shot barrage is enough, and Nisqy doesn't get a chance to move.
Look at Nisqy's face there.
Just absolutely plucked Pule there in the mid lane. As
He's like, what? I mean, I guess I was outplayed. Really nice arrow comes out from Jun. The chain CC makes it a clean kill. Ends up being a trade back for Fnatic. Now 1-1 in kills. The gold returns to dead even. And Humanoid going to have to push another wave in here so that he can get a nice base off. So far, a very slow early game, very much as we expected. The next dragon spawning in about a minute and a half. The grubs are going to be up soon. We'll see if Razork decides to try and test them this time around.
I've seen Oscarinin go back and get a Barmies and plated steel caps. We'll help him out in the lane a little bit. Executioner's first for Irrelevant, but he hasn't based in a while. I think he's probably sitting on about 1,000, 1,200 gold or so. Then he can check on our little... Oh, 2,000 gold, in fact. So he will want to back before they fight around the grubs, especially if Razork is going to try and play towards that. Could just look for the Infernal Drake up in 53 seconds, as you said, Vedi. Isma's actually pathing down towards bot side, so might be looking to make a play through bot into the Drake, knowing that Razork could play on the top side. He'll be spotted, I think, with that ward. Yep, that Irrelevant's just placed across the wall, so might end up being a bot side control trade. It's not going to be the Drake yet, though, because there's still 30 seconds before that's up, Vedi.
Isma's getting this deep vision, looking for a potential dive. Noah recognizes he's on the weak side. Going to use his ultimate to thin out the wave.
Noah has no flash.
Dangerously
Dos
close.
has ult. Yeah, this is not the easiest from Noah as the stun lands, but a good enchanted crystal arrow means that Noah gets a sidestep. The arrow from Jun saving his AD carry's life, delayed enough time so that Isma could not land the follow-up CC.
Now the question is, do SK feel strong enough to force this dragon? Noah and Jun, yes, they lost the heal, but they're actually very healthy. Humanoid has the push in mid, and Razork's making a beeline towards it. I think this is a great opportunity for Fnatic to actually get the dragon here. Irrelevant, finding another nice trade. They got Gnar. decided not to go for any crazy play. But that was a big window for Humanoid. He's going to get another big chunk taken away from Nisqy's health bar. When Nisqy tried to roam, Humanoid was very quick to follow him, and he was harassing him all his way towards the bot side of the map.
Good wallop. Knock into the wall there for Oscar. Irrelevant goes mini. Oscar.
Very close. Of course, he would still have the passive, but if Irrelevant could proc that, he'd be pretty happy. Razork, though, sitting pretty comfy right now.
I was wondering if Irrelevant stopped the recall with the boomerang. Looks like he didn't. Oscar just decided to stay around. Another plate goes over to Irrelevant, but a good sequence for Fnatic. They get the grubs, they get the Drake, and they manage to get the flash out of Isma as well, and DOS. DOS's flash. Still on that Hex flash right now. Plates in the mid lane as well for Humanoid. Although the Karma is not the most explosive of picks, it still does do a lot of damage and a lot of work with that Malignance build, which looks like he has gone back, picked up right now. There it is. 30 ultimate haste and those the little puddles of extra damage.
Yeah, I always think it's fire for some reason, but it's supposed to be blood.
Is it blood?
I believe so. That's what Draco's told me.
It says burns the ground on the thing I'm looking at, but
maybe I actually did. Maybe I thought it was blood, and Draco's like, no, it's fire. Maybe that's what happened. That actually sounds way more realistic. Sorry, Draco. Don't mean to throw you under the bus like that. Herald going to be spawning in about 45 seconds. Plate's being chipped away at. Bot side, Fnatic, that's their third plate. Noah can easily eat away to safety.
I mean, technically it just says a scorched zone on the official tooltip.
So it's just uncomfortably warm.
I mean, blood can scorch, I guess.
True. I mean, anything can scorch if it's hot enough, no?
Yeah. Although if blood got to a scorching level, would it be like steam blood?
You're the medicine.
I'll be honest, not often in medicine do we say how hot does blood need to get before it turns into steam blood. I would assume it would be about water level.
Isn't that just body temperature, though?
Body temperature is 38 degrees Celsius.
Celsius, you've got to clarify
I mean,
that.
37 point or something. But like, even then, I don't think your blood boils at 37 degrees, otherwise we'd all be dead, Betty. Isma looking to take us out of our misery with this conversation. Going for that fight. Blue buff secured by Isma, I believe. Razork chases him away, though, and there's the kill. Fnatic get their second on the board. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Irrelevant continues to harass and harangue Oscarinin.
Nice trade once again from Irrelevant. Isma sacrificed his life for a blue buff. I think Fnatic will be pretty happy with that trade. They're continuing to mount advantages. Tower going to be secured in bot lane. That tower is getting very low in mid as well. They're looking for the dive.
Where are you going, Nisqy? Emperor's Divide, flash away initially. Razork dashes forward. The Emperor's Divide comes back. The Dawning Shadow shield, not enough. As Humanoid and Razork able to tank up both the towers and escape.
Nice movement from Fnatic from bot into mid. They find another pick, but Irrelevant still standing strong in the top lane. In game one, he was a massive contributor to the win for SK. Let's see if he can do the same thing again this time around, because Fnatic's mid lane building a big advantage. Jungle, big advantage. Things are all looking up for Fnatic here.
TP invested as well to make sure they can fight around this Rift Herald. Isma backs away from it. Irrelevant looks like he's going down towards the bottom lane to catch that wave. Does have a TP coming up in about 30 seconds or so. For the moment, it is all Fnatic. 2,000 gold lead developing for them. We did see this a little bit in game one as well until Irrelevant was able to join up with his team. I expect we'll see him joining up with his team in about a minute 30 time, as that is when the next Drake is up. It's another Ocean Soul for us, Vedi.
But Fnatic going to move their pressure up towards the top lane. They've already unlocked the bot tower. The mid tower is basically a light breeze away from falling. So the pressure being put down here. Humanoid, though, has been left by his jungler.
No tower here for him. Isma might just use the Magnet Storm initially. There's the slide forward, the arrow going wide. Humanoid tries to survive, but doesn't really have anywhere to go. Nisqy takes the kill. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Noah takes the tower.
Yeah, I will say, that was probably a mistake on Humanoid's part. The rest of his team did choose to back away.
I'm just saying, in yesteryear, there was a tome written about Humanoid dying in side lanes.
That there was.
It's like we've just gone back to those days for a second there.
Gives away a kill to SK, which they'll be happy to claim. They do, of course, lose their mid tower, but the Dragon now, 45 seconds away. Humanoid going to be alive for that. Noah has the push in mid. The only problem is it's going to be harder for Oscarinin to be able to push that wave in. Admittedly, though, he's uncontested on this wave for now, so it shouldn't be a problem for him.
feel like we want to do a stack check soon, Betty, but first I want to ask you, how many stacks do you think the Senna has? Don't click. I'm looking at you. Don't click on that screen.
I'm going to say 42.
Yeah, I don't think it's that high. I think around 38 to 40. I would agree with you. 40 exactly.
I was 2 off.
It's a bit harder to get stacks when you're playing into double ranged, obviously, and Exakick has struggled to get as many stacks as we saw Noah acquiring in game 1. Dragon now spawned though. Razork coming in from the side does have that rift held in
Here
pocket.
we go. Right, get ready, audience. This is the moment we've been waiting for. 3rd dragon of the game.
No, Razork's just going to put rift held down and
Here
charge
we go.
through mid.
I'm ready for the fight.
Okay, build it up, Betty. Come on.
Oscarinin coming in from the flank.
Doss looking
SK.
for him. Oscarinin caught. Razork might just look for the Drake here. Oscarin's going to take a long time to kill. Nisqy now stepping back. Oscarinin already low. Exakick with a dawning shadow. The Drake secured by Noah. Oscarinin dies. No fight ensues. But the Dragon goes over to Fnatic.
So, okay, it's a kill for Drake, but I really think that's worth for Fnatic. They now find themselves at Soul Point. They have control over the mid wave. They can actually move this towards the top lane and start threatening that tower as well. You can already see Nisqy committing to the bot tower.
Oh, not actually put down. Nisqy, it's fine. It's fine. It's
That
fine.
was close.
Did the
Here
maths, man.
comes Humanoid.
There's the arrow.
Arrow. Ooh. Nisqy won't fall for the same trick twice.
Herald not invested by Razork in the mid lane to charge towards that tower, instead saving it. Obviously can't save it for the next Drake. It will expire before then, will be automatically placed.
I mean, I do think that there was a window for them to push in that mid wave and then immediately move to top and then push that wave in and then secure a tower. Maybe they were concerned that they'd be a little bit behind on tempo though, as Nisqy would have been able to back first after securing the bot TP. Regardless, Jun and Irrelevant will now go face to face. Naturally, you give the advantage to Irrelevant.
I think
here.
Irrelevant wins these. Yep, Irrelevant wins these. Isma here to back him up. And
Irrelevant will just be like, all right, we'll have a nice Monday. I'll take that kill and go back to my lane, push this one out.
Jun just typing in chat, you had to use your ultimate to kill me.
Kind of cringe, bro.
It's really cringe. That is the weakness, obviously, of playing these range supports. Or AD carry
That they're
supports.
really squishy.
Yeah, really squishy.
Also, top laners are often designed to kill you, regardless of whether they're tank or not.
It's a 1,600 gold lead for Irrelevant in the top lane. Evens out the gold between the two teams with Noah, Razork and Jun leading the charge here for Fnatic. TP's behind. There's 2 invested. That second one will be seen because it's on a control ward. The arrow does land onto Exakick, who's now trying to get away. Hook from Doss as well. Oscarinin tries to get on the back line, but misses the stretching strike. The investment from Doss was a deadly one as he sacrifices himself to get the rest of the team out, and Nisqy should be able to walk away as well. Oscarinin could look for another elastic slingshot, but instead decides it would not be a shot that he desires to take.
Immediately, Razork moves towards the bot side. Thought he was hunting his former teammate. Instead, he has his eyes on the jungle.
I think he's hunting his former teammate. Flash!
Oh! Misplay there from Razork. Tries to flash over the Emperor's Divide, but misses it up slightly. Nisqy gets away to safety. He still keeps his flash. Blue buff. If they wait 4 more seconds, the whole team can get it. Huh? Why did that just... Did it level up? Maybe at 20 minutes, because the Baron spawned, it leveled up, maybe?
That's what we'll say, Betty.
Yeah.
We'll go with that one.
But yeah, now the whole team
Oh yeah,
gets
because the 20-minute ones have more health, right? They're tankier. So it evolved. Real-time evolution in front of our eyes, Betty. It's a scientific marvel.
Yeah.
Vedius et al. Releases their paper.
I'm curious that Razork doesn't have the blue buff though.
Vedius et al. Releases his paper. I don't know, man.
I'm gonna
Everyone
remove
else
that.
has one.
No, he does have it though. Look, it's on his bar. It's at the bottom left. Just a visual
Okay, just
bug.
a visual
It's fine.
bug.
So he does
Nice.
have it.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Okay. We're cool.
We're cool. Yeah, nice.
Harold dropped in mids. What are they going to use this for? Oh, they're going for top lane.
I think it would be funnier if you had to do a QTE event as you were riding the Rift Tower. The longer you go, the harder it becomes.
You mean like Osu?
Yeah, like Osu. Or eventually it just becomes Wordles or Lolls, right? It's like, if you don't guess the champ action, I'm just going to run back and hit your tower. You get the Rift Tower in. Isma has to flash away here as Razork was on the way. The Enchanted Crystal Ammo dodged away from him as well. Doss, Hex flashing away. Isma doesn't really have a place to go here. The Magnet Storm still locking Razork against the wall, but with the TP coming in from Nisqy, Irrelevant's looking for that Mega Gnar. Bar building up, Humanoid keeping them so far at bay though. Irrelevant has the Megas charged up now. Chun flashes forward. Irrelevant goes in for the Mega Gnar, but it only lands onto 2. Is that enough? Irrelevant then dashes away. Nisqy slides in though. Perfectly played by Nisqy as SK managed to find two. They lose their support for it. Nisqy trying to kill off Razork, but can't quite get the damage down. In the end, a 3 for 2 in favor of Fnatic. Make it 4 perhaps as Exakick tries to run from the Karma, but it's out to get him. Can't quite find it as now Humanoid has overstepped. Will be a 3 for 3 in the end. He has, Vedi.
Yep,
he has.
The heal from the Mantra W looked close there for Humanoid, but it wasn't quite enough. 3 for 3. If Humanoid hadn't greeded for that extra kill, they would have had the kill advantage, but Isma gets caught out here, sitting in the top lane, doesn't have any way to get over the wall, tries to turn it into a potential fight as the TP is starting to come through from Nisqy, but he loses his life too quickly. Good ulti there from Razork to mitigate a lot of damage. Irrelevant's trying to build up the meter, but they are getting chipped away at. This is the poke that we were talking about from Fnatic. Nice ultimate from Irrelevant. Gives an opportunity for Nisqy to make the play happen. 3-man ultimate. Brilliantly done. But now we go back to live. Ends up being a 3 for 3 in that top side. The kills are even, the gold is pretty much dead even. But remember, this is Soul on the line for Fnatic.
No depth charge for DOS. Ultimates across the board for Fnatic. Nisqy doesn't have his ult either yet. 9,000 on the Drake. Humanoid TP's in. Noah trying to put the chip damage down. Irrelevant building up that Mega Gnar. No flash for him. Makes it harder for him to get access that back line. Enchanted Crystal Arrow hits Isma. They're looking to burst him down. Oscarinin dives forward, and the smite secured by Razork. And now the fight perhaps secured by Fnatic. Irrelevant trying to get towards that damage, but he just can't get enough down. Exakick caught out by Razork, and DOS and SK now starting to retreat. The depth charge comes out at the end of the fight, and once again, it's a cooldown dip here for Fnatic.
They can make a beeline towards the Baron. SK struggling to find these good fights. Fnatic constantly just playing at range, chipping away at the HP bars from SK. And then the moment that SK's on the retreat, that's when Fnatic pounce and find themselves the kills they need to secure the objective. Soul secured, Baron going to be secured. Fnatic looking to bring us to game 3.
And a date with Mad Lions Koi awaits them Friday of next week. 24 minutes in, there's the Baron, 1,000 gold lead for them as well. Let's have another look at this fight, Vedi.
So the arrow comes through, connects onto Isma. That's Razork's window to start, and then Oscarinin gets interrupted by the hook from DOS. But you can see how split up SK already are. Exakick stuck in the pit, left in a 1v1 against Razork that he's happy to take. Irrelevant can't really find a way to land a good ultimate, but the poke damage is just too strong from the side of Fnatic. I was a little bit concerned about their damage, but if they're given the freedom to land all this poke, there's nothing that you can really do about it. So great utilization of the Karma, the Ezreal, and the Ashe to just constantly harass their opposition down, slowly chip away at their HP bars. And then SK, they feel too hesitant and too, well, unhealthy to really turn a fight in their favor.
And part of the issue, as you said, is that Ashe arrow. If that lands, you can't engage, so Fnatic get the window to step forward and try and put some extra damage down onto you. Isma has been caught by that a couple of times in the last couple of fights. It makes it very hard for SK to actually ever find that full-on engage they were looking for. Irrelevant splitting off in the top lane. We'll be able to get a tier 2 here, but they're sacking 2 tier 2s for it. Obviously a net gain for Fnatic. Nisqy tries to clear out the wave, or at least chunk away at Oscarinin. Enchanted Crystal Arrow going wide there. Isma dashes back. With a wave state in mid lane, very healthy for Fnatic. They'll get an inhibitor tower out of this. TP behind by Irrelevant. He's built up that Mega Gnar bar, and now Razork's got a little bit too deep. Rooted up, locked up, Irrelevant. Trying to run away from the rest of Fnatic. Razork locked up with a depth charge as well. Should fall here, but the heal gets him out in time. Irrelevant goes into Mega. Does not have the flash, but he has the dash to only bring back Humanoid, and now SK are on the back foot, forced away. As Noah gets a shutdown, Nisqy puts the Emperor's Divide up, but those bodyguards aren't saving anyone. Fnatic looking for the win.
SK just can't find a good engage. Fnatic used their range beautifully, and they're going to look to end this game in 26 minutes.
Exakick, DOS, and Isma. It's all on them to try and defend the Nexus, but Oscarin's tanking the Nexus towers. We saw SK overstep a little bit in this position in game 1, but Fnatic do not do the same. The Nexus in their eyes, they don't care about the kills. Give them game 3.
Really well played poke comp from Fnatic. It was a slow early game, but they knew what their win conditions were. The way they played around the objectives, a lot of credit to Razork in securing those early objectives. Overall, great game and a great bounce back from Fnatic.
Really well played by Fnatic. We'll be back for game 3 right after this.